pastor here at St. Giles. Oh, I'm alive. And it's wonderful to greet you here. If you will, open up with me to Mark chapter 5. I'm just kidding. That's tomorrow's programming. No, I'm excited to welcome you here to what really is the joy of seeing people come together in art, and that is seeing the American Guild of Organists Richmond chapter cooperating with what we're doing here at St. Giles called the St. Giles Concert Series. And I'm really excited. Now, part of that excitement, though, knows that the music's going to vary in loudness. There's going to be moments that grab us. There's going to be moments where we settle. And being a Halloween concert, there might even be moments where we feel a little creeped out, hopefully, right? But in the loud moments, you wouldn't know this. But in the soft moments, you might hear the faint echo of the tiny little creature that creeps into concerts, called our cell phones. And so I want to encourage you right now to just, if you have a cell phone, this is your friendly reminder to turn it down or silence it or put it on vibrate. If you want to look, I hope you have a copy of the program for this afternoon. If not, we have some available in the front, and you'll see on the inside what our recital will consist of today. You'll also see upcoming chapter events and upcoming concert series events here at St. Giles. If you're interested in knowing what we do and why we do it here, there's more info on the back. But all in all, I just want to say welcome. We're glad you're here. We're excited. Thank you, gentlemen who are playing with us today. You bless us to no end. And so that being said, friends, I'd like to just introduce Ryan Tibbetts to come forward, and he's going to open up our concert for this afternoon.
Good afternoon, and on behalf of the Richmond chapter of the American Guild of Organists, I'd like to welcome you all to this Halloween recital. I'm Ryan Tibbetts. I'm the current dean of the chapter, and which meant I think I drew the short straw and got to start the thing out. But it's really delightful to be here today and to play in this space and get to play on this instrument, which I did not know before this. So we have a fun program. I wanted to just thank Ben Miller and the clergy and the staff here at St. Giles for being such welcoming hosts. I think that's probably everything I need to say right now. So we will move on with Donald Trazer, our next organist.
Anyone who knows me knows that I'm all about Richmond and Richmond history. My family has only been here since 1840. That may give you a little bit of a clue right there. So today we have a piece of Richmond history as part of our program. Many Richmonders especially are aware that Jefferson Davis died and was buried in New Orleans. But some 20 years later, there was a movement afoot which succeeded in bringing him back to Richmond as his final resting place. They had a second funeral for him at St. Paul's, and then he was conveyed to Hollywood. Jacob Reinhardt, who wrote this funeral march, was the organist of St. Paul's at the time, and he wrote this piece to be played by the Stonewall Band from Stanton at the graveside in Hollywood. I am guessing that they were there in place and began playing when they saw the cortege begin to arrive, which of course consisted of some 10,000 people. So it may have taken them a while. And this piece is written in sections that can be repeated over and over. It's in an ABA form right now. There is a C section of it that I'm not going to play today. I envision it as beginning softly, and then as it goes through with the next section, it gets louder and louder until there's a great crescendo towards the end when everybody has arrived at the site and they are ready for the ceremonies to begin.
Good afternoon. My name is Ben Miller. I'm the Director of Music and Worship Arts here at St. Giles. I'd like to extend a warm greeting to St. Giles members of the American Guild of Organists, Richmond chapter, and any others who may be joining us. If you would, if you're a member of St. Giles, or if you attend St. Giles, maybe you're not a member, will you just clap once with me? Here we go. Lovely. And if you're a member of the Richmond AGO chapter, will you clap once with me? If you fall in neither of these categories, will you clap once with me? Lovely. It sounded about equal to me, and I think that was our aim today. And so thank you, Ryan, for your thanks earlier. It is truly our pleasure. My stump speech today is going to be a little longer than usual, but I'm going to keep each of these points brief because rather than just one point, I have three. The first one is to talk to you about the St. Giles concert series, which has been on the screens this whole time. The St. Giles concert series is completely sustained through donations by people who attend the concerts. It is not a line item on the St. Giles budget. It is completely self-sustaining. We began this concert series in 2021. Did I get that right? Yeah. When we completed the rebuild of our pipe organ. And we've been so happy and so pleased to be able to offer it freely to our community since then. And not just freely to those of you who are here enjoying this music today, but freely to the Richmond chapter of the American Guild of Organists, freely to the Richmond Brass and Percussion Consort, who will be with us again for Christmas time this year, freely to many, many other ensembles and groups that come here. We've been blessed with these resources, and we want to give them freely. But we can't do it without your help. And so by using this QR code that you see here, or by picking up an envelope, which is by a donation box at the very back door when you exit, you can contribute to the St. Giles Concert Series to help us defray the costs of this and keep it free to the public. We're about to enter a season of giving. You have a lot of people to consider. If you can't give this time, we hope you'll think of us next time. All right, thing number 2. I have been playing the organ for 3 months. I was born a singer, and I was just good enough at piano playing in college to not be ushered into group piano, and I was lucky enough to have a private piano teacher. I was the least experienced person in that studio, but they were very welcoming to me, and I never felt less than. And I thrived in that. I joined the American Guild of Organists Richmond chapter last fall. You can do the math. I joined the chapter before I even thought I might be playing the organ. And I was met with the exact same warm welcome. I've never felt to be less than. And furthermore, something that people don't really know about the organization, I don't think, at least it's not at the fore, is it is not just for organists. I'll say it again, it is not just for organists. I, as a choral director at this church, there are so many resources I've benefited from. And most recently is a wonderful series of videos they have on YouTube that are titled, "So, You're a Piano Player Who Wants to Be an Organist." And it's a 16-part series, and it's very articulate, and it's very simple, and it's very easy to understand. And I'm not saying I'm a great organist, but I'm saying I know my way around now. The American Guild of Organists is a group of ambassadors, above all. And so if anybody here who's not an organist is interested in membership, I encourage you to go right to the website or to speak with Ryan today about what that means. I don't know all of it. All I know is ever since I've joined, it's been wonderful. That was thing number 2. Thing number 3, the piece I'm about to play. In the 1980s, there were 2 men named Bob, Robert Zemeckis and Robert Gale, and everybody just called them the Bobs. And they spent about 7 years writing what was essentially a retelling of Jack and the Beanstalk. And it went through many different names and many different revisions, and they courted it around, and generally it was about a boy who accidentally gets sent back in time, and he's got to get his parents back together because he messes that up. And I think they took it to Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers said, no, science fiction movies just aren't selling right now. Star Wars oversaturated the market. Okay, and they took it to another film studio, and the film studio said, this is really a kid's movie. You should take it over to Disney. And so they took it over to Disney, and Disney read it, and they said, we don't do movies about incest. And if you've seen Back to the Future, you realize that's how it read. But then Steven Spielberg got on board, and they went to Paramount Pictures, and they essentially Well, they had the greatest script ever written, really. And the movie they made absolutely defines the taste of buttered popcorn. So what I'm about to play is the theme from Back to the Future. I've only been at this for 3 months, but I figure 'tis the season for junk food, and I hope you enjoy it. It's by Alan Silvestri. And I forgot my music.
So a couple of things. We have two more pieces on the program. Yikes. This setting of the Dies Irae by Lithuanian composer Vidas Pinkevičius that I'm playing, and then the toccata from the Suite Gothique by Leon Boelman, played by Bruce Stevens. After the performance, we invite all of you to reception, which is outside. So if you go back out through those center doors and hang a left and just go out the front, there will be food set up on some tables. We have some cookies and some drinks and cupcakes. It all looked very good, so I hope you'll stick around and have some time to kind of chat. I also wanted to draw your attention to the second page in the program. So St. Giles was kind enough to, in addition to listing some of their own upcoming events, to list upcoming events for our chapter. And there are several of them coming in fairly close succession. Next Saturday, November 4th at 10 a.m. at Bon Air Presbyterian Church, Daniel Stipe will be leading a clinic on hymn playing. Daniel's a fabulous musician. Some of you may have heard him perform here, I think, last summer on this very concert series. And so you know what a terrific performer of concert music he is. He's also a very fine hymn player, so I think that's going to be very interesting. I'm going to have to miss it, unfortunately. One of my sisters is getting married that weekend, so I'm going to be out of town, but you should all go. And right after that, the following Friday, November 10th, at 7:30 p.m. at St. Benedict Catholic Church, we have the first performance of our organ repertoire recital series featuring the organist Anne Laver, which is going to be, I'm sure, a fantastic concert. The repertoire recital series is, I think, one of the great things that the chapter does, bringing in usually three, sometimes four terrific performers to Richmond every year to play on some of the really fine instruments that we have in the city. So I hope you'll be able to check some of those out. Just want to say thank you again to Ben and St. Giles, and especially to Ben for the great sales pitch for the AGO. And and I have to say, as someone who was kind of a singer and then sort of a pianist and then kind of became an organist later on, great job. Really enjoyed the Back to the Future. Yeah, it's great. So the Dies Irae is a sequence hymn. It was part of the Requiem Mass for the Roman Catholic Church for many years. There are probably still some traditionalist parishes that use it for funerals, for masses for the dead. It's had sort of a life outside of the church in popular culture, in fact, starting in the 19th century with Hector Berlioz in his Symphonie Fantastique. Composers started to use it in symphonic music and other places to kind of signify doom, basically. The hymn is about the end of the world. Dies Irae means day of wrath. And so it's basically about the day of judgment and sort of prayers for deliverance from that. And there's a through line from Berlioz into 20th and 21st century film music. If you Google Dies Irae film music, you'll find kind of some compilations on YouTube of kind of places where it pops up as kind of, often just sort of a subtle little thing in the background to kind of, when something bad happens in a film. So it might be interesting. This piece draws more from its liturgical tradition. Pinkevičius is a Lithuanian composer and organist. He, I think, improvised this piece during a recital that he was playing and then went back and kind of tightened it into a composition. So you'll hear the chant melody in kind of sort of a low stop and then kind of moved around. And I've tried to use this as an opportunity to kind of draw on some of the kind of interesting colors that this organ can produce. So thank you very much and enjoy Dies Irae.
Good afternoon. As we wrap this up this afternoon, something lively. Leon Berlman was one of those great composers who actually died too soon. He was 35 when he died, and so he left some very remarkable pieces of music for the organ and for other media, but not as many as he might have done if he had lived longer. This Suite Gothique is his most famous piece, and you've probably heard this toccata before. There are 4 movements in this suite. An introduction dash chorale, which is like a big loud hymn, which is then followed by a minuet gothique, which, if there was ever a misnomer, that is it. There's nothing gothique about a minuet, and this is a charming minuet in 3/4 times lively and in C major, so it's not gothique at all. And then there's the prayer to Notre Dame, the prayer to Our Lady, which, when scheduled in a Protestant church, is just called prayer. And then there's this toccata. I'd never thought of this toccata as being particularly Halloweeny or spooky, but last summer I was playing it for postlude at my church, and one of the choir members remarked that it sounded sinister. And I'd never thought about it being sinister, but he was right, because I'd really never played it before on an organ that had lots and lots and lots of bass, big 16 and 32-foot bass, which we have at First Presbyterian. And this organ has in a great amount. So it will sound sinister, I think, today, but even if not, it's kind of a delightful piece, even without being sinister. I've been asked by the chapter photographer to have all the players come up, and we'll have a picture of all the players for today. Thank you for coming, and don't forget the reception right outside.